Hey Scrappy people, Tracy Reed here today with a TRD Sketchy Sunday number 20, and today we are going to be using that sketch up in the corner, and I am using the Happy Day collection. I have printed out my papers on 8.25 by 10 inches, which is the size of a Life Crafted album, so that I can work my papers all the way across both sides of the page all at once. So I decided to use the starburst pattern as the background with a nice blue solid, and then I want this red paper to be sort of sandwiched in between my top paper and the blue, and I'm cutting off a ½ inch at a time on these papers so they get progressively smaller. So the first paper I took off a ½ inch on both sides, the next paper I took off an inch on both sides, and this paper I took off an inch and a half on both sides, so they got progressively smaller. And then just like the sketch, I sort of angled them jauntily across the page, and that is the base of my page. So I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to add in my holes so that I make sure I don't put anything important on the holes where the holes are going to be, because if I don't punch the holes to begin with, we always have a problem. So now this page is ready to start building the rest of the sketch. I need to pull out my patterned cards to decide what colors I want to go behind my photo as the double matte on the sketch shows. So I pull out all of my pattern cards, and I want to go with something fairly subtle, so I go with this beautiful plaid, and then I'm going to use this lime green paper as well. So I'm just going to stick them together, and then I'll stick my photo on top of them. And this sketch is actually fairly simple. There's a lot going on with all of these beautiful layered papers, but you can see this video is only 8 minutes long because the sketch is really easy to put together. Now, because this page is not a square, it is a sort of a rectangle, I did lose a little bit of height on the top and bottom, so my photo is sitting a little bit lower on the page than the original sketch, which means I don't have as much room to embellish underneath. On the sketch, there are scallops underneath a few portions of the page, and I decided to go with these glittery white starbursts that I had cut out for my previous page using this collection. Instead of scallops, they mimic the same effect, of course, but they are infinitely cooler than just a scalloped paper strip. So I really love this decision, and I also love that it draws both pages together, because the original page that I made with this collection was another graduation page, so it sort of, even though the colors are different, they come one after another in the album, and they'll be drawn together or like linked together by these really cool starbursts, which I think is fun. All right, so I've got all of these put down now, sort of tucking them in, making sure that they fit. They are definitely larger than on the sketch because they're a bit bigger, so they have a bit more of an impact than those scallops did. Okay, make sure we get everything nice and glued down. Because they are glittery, it's a little bit harder to make sure everything is sticking. I have tags in the sticker sheets for the collection, so that's an easy addition for the sketch. So I decided to go with this dark blue one because there's dark blue paper in the background, so I wanted to add in a little bit more of a dark pop. I'm going to stick this right underneath here. There's just one tag on the sketch, so I got to make sure that it sits in here and doesn't go too far over these holes, because then it will just kind of look awkward if I have to snip a part of it off. So I got it in there far enough that it avoids the holes altogether. And so there are journal strips at the top and a large title on the left. I knew I wanted to add in another smaller subtitle with these stickers, so I'm going to do that, and unfortunately I stick it down right to the photo and decide later that I want to move it because that's just how I roll. So I'm going to end up reprinting the photo altogether because I have sticky stuff on the photo. Not a big deal. The joy of being able to reprint things. Yay for balloons. I finally got to use the balloons in this collection that I love so much. So I'm kind of like at a place where I'm struggling a little bit, not struggling, but like, okay, what next sort of a thing. Do you ever get to those places? So I decided to go ahead and add in my title. So I'm going to use these navy blue foam stickers and then these gold stickers for the largest part of the title. So my oldest graduated with honors and distinction, which means you took more than the required course load with like AP classes and honors classes, and then with distinction means that you got a high GPA while doing it. So I wanted to add this worked hard for this. And then you can see once I have all of those words on the right hand or on the left hand side there, these are just, there's too many words at the bottom of the page, so I decided I wanted to add them to the top of the page. So I'm going to reprint that photo so that there's no sticky stuff, but first I'm gonna make sure this is where I want this while I still have this sticky photo and I can move things around. Okay, so I've redone my photo. Now I'm going to put the journaling strips that I just printed out on my printer. Easy peasy. And then I can add in the title when I have all of these put down. I like to offset them a little bit so that your eyes sort of jump back and forth when you're reading. There we go. Okay, so put this celebrate down here. And then when I have this down, I decide that I need to give those starbursts a little bit more oomph. I like them, but I feel like they could have something, and they could be cooler, right? That's what I felt. They could be cooler. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get out some enamel dots from my Cocoa Daisy stash, because I have about 18 million Cocoa Daisy enamel dots. And I'm going to pick some colors that match the collection, and I'm going to use them as centers for these starbursts. So what it's going to do is it's going to add little enamel dots in a row on my photo and on the top left hand side up there that sort of match, and I really like the way that that adds just a little bit of something to the page. So that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed. There is a link to the blog post with more sketch examples in the description box below. All right, thank you.